Hello, everybody. Today we have a fellow internet content creator, FanOf, who we will be interviewing. FanOf is a notorious short form content creator on Instagram and TikTok. They're mostly known today for their twerk react videos. I'm Frog.
I'm Swifty.
I'm FanOf.
One of the first things we want to talk about, and it's probably one of the most infamous and notorious things about your story online, and I guess in general. But you were arrested, I believe, for an arson incident which happened a long time ago. It was a forest fire that took place in the Mojave Narrows Park. Some major damage happened. Around 25 acres, I believe, just of forest land was burned. So not anybody's houses or anything like that. Can you maybe elaborate a little bit about that and give us your perspective on it?
Sure. Well, I have a disease called schizophrenia, and there's about 4 different forms of schizophrenia, and so I don't know exactly which one. We just group it under schizophrenia, but I hear voices almost all the time, and it really affects my daily life to the point where I can't do a lot of things. It affects a lot of things such as lifespan. I just, I don't feel that I'm not that physically active. It's just part of the disease. But asking why I did it, it's a long story. It's a long story, guys. Personally, I was hearing voices, and I've never been hospitalized for my schizophrenia. Back then, I never had a clear diagnosis onto what was going on. I was just hearing voices, and I did it for plenty of years without knowing. I just knew it was like the blanket term of psychosis, but I didn't know it was schizophrenia. So I did it to get myself hospitalized. Now, was it kind of messed up thing to do? For sure. But when I was on my way towards there, I picked up a jail card. It was just like a random jail card of someone else's, and I was like, oh, that's my next outcome. That's the next thing I'm gonna hear. Like, I always hear voices, and like I hear voices in the winds. Like there was high winds that day. There was very high winds that day, and when the winds blow me around, because it's like 20-mile-per-hour winds, I hear voices at the same time, and it usually tells me this and that, usually nonsensical things. But it it told it, it I can't really say why I did it because there isn't a why.
Mm-hmm.
It was just to get myself hospitalized. I really needed treatment, guys, and I got it there. I started taking meds while in the jail cell. Like I never knew that you could take meds for the schizophrenia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had watched a video that you had made a little while ago going over kind of your life and things like that, and you had mentioned that you had schizophrenia and been struggling with it, so I assumed that it had been something like that, but it's just one of the major things that's happened with you, so that's kind of why I wanted to mention it and kind of get your opinion on it. um and were you ever charged for anything that happened with that, or were you just kind of arrested and let go? Did they just hospitalize you? uh what was kind of the result of the incident?
No, no, they charged me. They charged me. It was a felony. Um, they put me in an interrogation room. I didn't really want to say anything. Like I crapped myself in the interrogation room. Like I was going through a lot during the time. Like, but after that, they transferred me all the way down, like a mile away from where, or like an hour away where I live, and they put me in the jail. Like they declared me mentally incompetent for trial because I was way too out of it at the time. I was making up nonsensical things. I thought I was somebody else at the point.
Mm-hmm.
And they put me in the regular jail cell, but once like I was just way too out of it. I was talking like way too crazy with like the other inmates, and I even started like harming myself while inside the jail cell because they give like a standard issue razors and stuff. So I did that to the point where I drew blood, and that was like the tipping point for the guards. So they actually moved me onto the mental health unit, which is different. There's like less politics there. Yeah, that's where I stayed the rest of the stay. It was pretty bad.
Okay. Yeah, and how long were you there for?
About 6 months total in jail. Like a little bit was spent at like a mental health facility called Patton.
Okay. So you did end up getting some form of like mental health care out of the whole thing.
Yeah, definitely. Like I didn't know there was pills you could take for schizophrenia. All I knew was RuneScape, guys. Like
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, let's back up just a little bit. You started the fire because of the voices. I saw that during the Fox News released a little thing about it, and or at least your local news source released a little thing about it on YouTube. They said that there was a foot chase where they tried to catch you. You were running away from the cops, is that right?
yes, they had actually tasered me in the back, and the taser did not go off.
Jeez. And then
Yeah,
what? You kept running?
yeah, I kept running. There's water. The cops didn't want to go in the water. I jumped. There's like lit logs over the water, but the water is like full of like leaves and stuff. Pretty scary. It's like 6 feet deep. So I just jumped over that, and thankfully there's more land over that. So I just kept running and running. But there's like more and more ponds and stuff, and more lakes or like, just stuff like that. But they just ended up and going on the other side and got me.
Did they tackle you, or did they finally tase you, or what?
Thankfully they didn't tase me. I had fallen in the water and they just fished me out. Like my shoes had like fallen off during that ordeal, and they just like dragged me through the thorns and everything with my bare feet
Mhm.
cutting up. It was
Yeah.
quite painful.
They in that same report, they mentioned that you were attempting to light fires while you guys like during the chase. Is that true? You were trying to light fires after you had already lit the initial fire?
No.
No. Okay.
You looked pretty rough when they got you. You were all covered in ash, and your clothes were all ripped up. You were wet.
Oh yes, it was terrible.
I would say after running from the police in a forest fire and jumping into the water, you look a little rough once they get you. But
Seriously, how is there that much ash? Did you run through flames or what?
Probably, I don't know.
That must have
Yeah.
been. Imagine how intense that was, like a hellish landscape running through flames while police are chasing you.
right.
It wasn't that much, but yeah, it was put out fairly quick.
Mm.
Yeah, I hear you.
After 25 acres had burnt down. But going on to you said that you were glad that you got medical attention out of the whole thing, and you ended up making it into the hospital. Another interesting thing that happened to you earlier in life, I believe, is you were shot in some type of like robbery attempt or something like that.
Well, I was just hit by a car while jaywalking.
Okay, so you were never actually shot. You were only hit by a car while jaywalking.
Oh, I had a very psychedelic experience where I felt like I was shot and I was hospitalized.
Okay. That makes sense. So you were using some type of psychedelic, had a bad trip, and believed that you had been shot.
Yes.
What type of psychedelics did you use?
Well, having schizophrenia means that basically I get bullied more than others.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that cannabis is a little bit more psychedelic, including any other drug. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a lot more psychedelic than
Yeah,
basically any substance makes me like hallucinate more. And methamphetamine is what I was using, so I don't know. It was methamphetamine that I was using during that time.
I see what you're saying. So schizophrenia kind of adds a hallucinogenic effect to almost any drug that you use, and at the time you had been using meth whenever you felt like
Mm,
you had to go to the hospital.
yes.
That makes sense. Yeah. In in the video where you spoke a little bit about your schizophrenia in the How I Ruined My Life video, you mentioned that you had used hallucinogenics in the past. Is that what you were referring to? Was uh, these types of drugs and the kind of effect they have on people with schizophrenia?
Nope. I used to be addicted to cough syrup.
Mm,
Oh
okay.
wow.
called dextromethorphan. It's not like the lean or stuff like that. It's in a different category called dissociative anesthetic.
Hmm.
So it separates your mind from your body, and that's what I was addicted to for like 2, 3, 4 years.
And that was whenever you were younger, somewhere around 16. I think you said you'd used it. You began using drugs whenever you were 16. So that would put it in the time frame of like 3 to 4 years for you to have been
Yeah, I
hallucinating.
started around 18. I started around 18.
Hmm. And that kind of loops into RuneScape in a funny way, where you said you had been selling RuneScape gold as a way to buy the cough syrup.
Yeah, I used to do odd staking.
Hmm. Why don't we talk about that a little bit? Because you did use gambling, and you play a lot of RuneScape, and you used to be really prominent within the community. It sounds like some major streamers used you as an editor. You used to make clips for people and things like that. So why don't you talk a little bit about how you got into RuneScape, how you used it to make money, and how you kind of got integrated into that community?
Well, on the day old school RuneScape came out, I had gotten in a fight with my dad, and I went to jail that day. But when I came back, I just started grinding it out. Like they deleted like their favorite part of the game. They made like a newer version of it that kind of sucks. And they made an old version, and that's what everyone plays and streams right now. And I was never like super big with creators. I just kind of edited for them, always on the sidelines. Like I grew up watching them. Uh, and yeah, I guess they may know a little bit of me personally, just because I spam videos all day.
Hmm.
But I never really met them like face to face.
You said that when you were 18, your dad wanted you to get a job, but you, quote, just gambled on RuneScape instead. Is that true?
Yes, I was severely addicted to gambling because basically you can make an account that's stronger than somebody else's account, provided you know like the mechanics of the game and the max hits. And people would gamble against me with less than ideal odds, and that's how I made a living. I never made like a streamer money, but I made a little bit here and there.
Hmm.
Only for a year, though, right? You made a good bit of money for a year, and then it quit working out for you. Is that right?
No, I did it for many years, but I never made a good amount of money. Just like never really made minimum wage. Just a little bit because I was addicted to meth at the same time. So it would be like half the addiction, half of just gambling on RuneScape.
Hmm. So you were kind of at the so you were making money from gambling, you were making a little bit of money from making RuneScape clips, so you were doing like a lot of different stuff with RuneScape at the time. I want to ask, you mentioned that your first channel you had gotten rid of because of a copyright strike, but you had also mentioned something about iceposedian. Did you ever have any interactions with iceposedian, or did he have any kind of impact on you deleting your first account, or was it just the odablock person who gave you a copyright strike for cutting up clips of his streams?
Odablock never strike me. Ice Poseidon strike me. Ice
Ah.
Poseidon strike me. I was just seeing how much ad revenue I can make recording VODs.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
So you had
So
And
never
you,
really made
yeah,
money from the gambling, and you said you'd gotten one $500 check from the stream clips, but you had never made a living off of that either.
from YouTube, yes. Just somebody copyrighted striked me.
Mm.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
Frog. What happened was he had a YouTube channel, and it actually started to do well. He was getting about 10 viewers per live stream. He had about 4,000 subscribers or something, and then that copyright strike really messed everything up, and he's never been able to get back on his feet. Is that right, FanOf?
Yeah, that's the YouTube channel I use currently. The fan of.
And you had mentioned that you had in order to get back into OSRS, and whenever you first started gambling, you had gotten into a fight with your father, and that made you go to jail. You have a kind of long rap sheet. You've been arrested multiple times. It sounds like you've been to jail multiple times. What is your? Could you go into some of those incidents and what like some common themes maybe are of them?
Uh, just trying to be fighting with my dad, and where he had just called the cops because I was using meth inside the house.
Mm. So it's mainly like drug related things.
Yeah, like even now if I do meth, he'll probably get real mad at me and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I just,
Well,
I just don't do it.
have you ever been able to kick that addiction? Have you ever been able to actually stop the meth, or is it something that's followed you for a decade or what?
I quit like 3 or 4 years ago, thankfully.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Nice.
Honestly, it sounds like things are kind of going up for you. You were able to get some medical assistance in the hospital. You've been able to kick meth, so it does sound like things have been turning around for you in a positive way. Um, I want to go back to some of these arrests because you have struggled with homelessness stemming from these fights with your father, where he's kicked you out of the house, and also I'm assuming some of the times that you've been arrested have been for drug use outside of the house. What is that true? Am I accurate in assuming that's typically where the homelessness stems from? Your father kicking you out for drug use?
Yes. Uh, and being trans, like he doesn't like me being trans. It's like a huge thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole
Yeah.
court case
Let,
with like SSI about it. But yeah, he doesn't like me having long hair, dressing in women's clothing whatsoever. So
And
yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. When did you come out as trans, and when did you start to feel trans?
I came out just right after my jail stint.
So
Um,
right. Which jail stay? The fire? You right after you got done with the fire?
well, I wouldn't say me necessarily, but after the fire, yes.
What do you mean you wouldn't say you? You mean that wasn't you that started the fire? It was someone else because you were being schizophrenic, or because you're a different person now, or what?
Basically, by the court, it says no contest. That means that it's not an admission of guilt.
I see.
Oh yeah,
Like,
because weren't you were declared incompetent for trial, right?
yes.
Okay.
So you get out of jail after the fire incident, and that's whenever you come out to your family. Had your father ever kicked you out of the house beforehand?
Yeah, just for drug use.
One of those times where your father kicked you out before you had came out as trans, I believe you mentioned you had gone to stay with a boyfriend. You were dating somebody at the time, and you went to go live with them.
Yeah.
Well, this actually must have been afterwards, Frog, because it's when she was trans. This would have been after the fire, right, FanOf?
I used to live with friends, yes, here and there. Different friends. My dad would always kick me out because I couldn't get a job. He's very conservative. I used to live in my car. I used to paint curbs, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And whenever you went to go live with this guy, uh, what who was he? How did you meet him? Can you kind of like tell us a little bit about that relationship, the first one?
It wasn't really a relationship.
Well, I have here on your Facebook, you're talking about your boyfriend.
That was way later in life.
2021.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my ex. I don't really want to talk much about my ex.
Okay. Yeah, we can move on from that.
I'll,
Um.
I'll talk a little. He
Mhm.
he let me move in. He let me grow out my hair out. Like, his parents were cool with it. Uh, and then I moved out because, like, we started doing meth. Uh, his parents found out. He stopped doing it and he kicked me out. And then I was homeless for a year. And then he helped me while I was homeless. I didn't really, and then we broke up, so I haven't talked to him since.
Okay. And you guys used meth together, but you had not been using it before you met him?
I had quit,
Mm, okay.
and then I got back on it.
I got ya. And then you have a new boyfriend now, correct?
No.
I saw you had posted, I believe it was either earlier today or late yesterday, that
Oh,
you.
that's my e-boyfriend. Yes, that's my e-boyfriend. Currently, I'm single. Uh, yeah, I don't really date.
Okay, so you've never met this person, and
Oh no, this person basically paid for a follow.
mhm. I believe it's like Jenny Zhang or something like that.
Yeah, Jenny and Zhang.
Jenny Zhang. It, and you said that they had paid for you to get a vaginoplasty, I believe, but there were complications with that.
No, that's
Just a joke. Okay,
a troll post. Yeah.
that's what I thought. Okay, so some of it is some of what you portray online. Is some of that a character? Is some of it like a joke?
Some of it's a character, but for most part, it's really me. Like, I really do have emotions like this, but no.
Mhm.
Like, I'm actually trans. I do have a lot of struggles and stuff, you know.
Yeah, it sounds like you do genuinely have conflict with your father, and I think that's a type of post you make that a lot of people have fun with is the twerking outside of my transphobic father's room videos, stuff like that. Um, it,
Yeah.
so that is like self-aware. You are kind of making a tongue-in-cheek joke about it.
I mean, it's a real thing. I mean, it's not really. You can call it a tongue-in-cheek joke, but it's still like a real situation.
Right. He's still kind of coming after you and things like that. And is this? It sounds like your main conflicts are with your father, and it's mainly over your trans identity and drug use. It, you never mention your mother or anything like that. Is there any relationship there, or is it? Do you just live with your father?
My mom, yeah, we just don't talk that much.
I see.
She has a bunch of daughters
Hmm.
and a few sons. She just had a grandkid, so yeah, I talked to her not that long ago. She's doing good.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Um, I, and I want to ask a question about your trans identity, because one thing that we noticed when doing a little bit of research for the video is that there was a time period where you did flip back and forth from being on hormones and then coming off of hormones and identifying as Kyle and then identifying as Kylie. Do you think that is something that a lot of trans people struggle with, kind of flipping, going on hormones, going off hormones, struggling with that
Somewhat,
identity?
somewhat, but it's me personally. I would have long hair. I'd be wearing women's clothing right now. It's just because of my father right now. Like, I would definitely not, maybe a little, like, I don't know. Like, I never had the opportunity to live how I want, so I can't really speak on that. But yeah, for the most part, I go as Kyle Lee, but, you
Mhm.
know, my Kyle is my birth name. That's what I go by.
Okay.
So you would go by Kylie all the time, and you would dress up as a girl all the time, and you would basically always be a girl, but your dad is preventing you from doing that.
Basically, yeah.
And that's the reason that you've been on and off of hormones for years is because of your father.
Oh, yeah, he tried to get me off hormones.
Uh,
Okay.
but you were able to fairly recently go to a trans healthcare like support center thing, right? Where they were able to give you some kind of care.
Yeah, that's part of the, just having a laser hair removal and stuff.
Hmm.
I saw at one point on a stream you smoked your hormones in a dab rig. Is that right?
No, that was just to get interactions.
That was just to get what?
Interactions.
Interactions, like views and stuff.
Yeah, because I did. It was just a picture, so I wasn't sure if you actually did it.
No, it's just to get views.
And is the loan thing, is that something to kind of try to get interactions as well? Because you have like the debt repayment tracker in the top corner of all of your shorts and a lot of your live streams.
Oh
Is
no,
that something to get interactions, or is that real?
no. Actually, I'm going to pay off some of the debt like today, or actually not today because the Venmo
Mm.
will clear in the morning. But no, you guys will see it gradually go down. Like I can show you,
How
like
much is left?
$424. Like it's a real
How,
debt. It's a
And
real debt.
what started the debt?
Oh, it was basically some dumb decisions back in the day when was under psychosis. Don't really want to talk about it too much. You can put this in the video, but it's just it's back when I was using again. Thankfully, I don't use no more. But it's debt. I wish it was gone. I'm paying it off. I made a payment today, and yeah, it sucks.
so back when you were using, you took a $1,000 loan. Is that right? Did you take it from the bank?
Yes,
And how many years ago was this?
for like a $2,000 payment for basically all my streaming equipment
I see.
right
How
now
many years ago? How many years ago was this?
this year, like last year.
2024.
Yeah.
And you've been streaming to try to pay that off ever since.
No, I just got like call about it, and then I was like, oh snap. Okay, well, let's try to pay off this debt. So we paid off half so far, and then once we pay out the other half, I'm hoping by the end of this year, and we'll be smooth sailing. Like that's about it.
This is kind of an unrelated question to the debt. Well, actually, I guess I do have a question. What has been the main like money making source that you've used to get the debt down? Because I noticed on your Discord you have a lot of promotional links for things like Chime, and other referral links where you get paid for the program or for people signing up using your link, and then you also, I assume, get donations from the stream. So have you? What has been the main revenue generating source for that? Have you gotten back into RuneScape gold selling or gambling at all? Do you have any pay pigs or donators or anything like that?
No, just been streaming and begging, basically. Just have the debt on the screen all the time. I had quit YouTube and just streaming altogether, just to do surveys for a few months, like a month and a half, to just pay off this debt. Been slowly just chipping it away.
Mm-hmm.
I think we started paying it off in December, and now this is
How,
what is that now?
how much are you making a day from the surveys usually?
I used to make like $10 a day,
Nice.
but I quit that because my passion was YouTube. So we're back doing the YouTube again, even though I don't make much.
But you do make some.
Yeah.
Really, the last thing that we have written down that's like a hard interview question is the tattoos. Do you give yourself tattoos?
Yep.
How do you give yourself tattoos?
Yeah, I gave myself a few tattoos last year. My dad flipped out. He took my tattoo machine. We bought another tattoo machine. Um,
What
he
kind of
took that
tattoos
one
do
as
you give
well.
yourself?
RuneScape tattoos, just like the RuneScape prayers and stuff.
Ooh, nice. Wait,
Yeah,
I saw that you gave yourself one and then it washed off in the shower, so you did it again. Is that right?
yeah. I just didn't use enough ink, so I had to add more.
Did we see your RuneScape tattoo?
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Well, it's like on my thigh. Yeah. Anyway, it's like right here.
Nice. Is it like all the skill? Is it like all the skills, or is it just the prayer one? Just
I can show you a video. It's better. It's just a few of the teleports. Just a few of the teleports.
I do have like just some wrap up questions. these are kind of just like craziest story things. So, is there anything crazy that happened to you while you were homeless that's just like an interesting story?
Oh yeah, I've been meaning to talk about this more. There's so many different stories. Just the hallucinations I'd see and stuff like the stuff out here.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's all like so much of it's not real. So I'm not sure if I should talk about it because like it's just a delusion. But yeah, just like the voices would tell me just the wildest things. And it's like so reality hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Do you have any examples?
yeah, as a schizophrenic, I would just get bullied out there. Like people would hit me for no reason. Um, One time this guy gave me like a giant line of meth, and then he like beat me.
Why?
I don't know.
Just
He just like he just like pummeled me, and it thankfully didn't last too hard. But I was
Did
good
you
after that.
did you take too much meth, or did you say something mean, or what?
I don't know. He just invited me to like this alleyway or whatever, and then he did it. Like
Did he rob you?
I didn't have nothing to rob.
Did he even check?
No, like he didn't knock me out, thankfully. But I had somebody knock me out and take what was in my pockets before.
What happened then?
That's happened twice. I just never knew who it was.
Just out of
Or
nowhere?
yeah. Whereas the second time was meth related, but yeah, it was freaking terrible.
What happened the meth related time?
This guy offered me like a Grand Theft Auto, and I declined, and then I just got up to walk away in exchange for meth. And then I get up to walk away, and he just like knocks me out and takes everything in my pocket.
so you were going to, he wanted you to sell him the meth for Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, and I did it. When I started walking away, he knocked me out.
Have you ever been like a meth dealer before, or have you just been a meth user, or is it just kind of you exchange meth at times whenever you were using?
I've just been a user, really.
I wanted to ask really quick about your current drug use. You currently only smoke marijuana, right? Legally use marijuana. Do you use any other legal drugs or?
Nope, just marijuana here and there.
Okay.
I'm trying. I wish I would quit, but I'm super addicted.
Another thing I wanted to touch on that people have mentioned online, but I've never seen any evidence of it. Some people believe that the debt and all of the money that they give you goes to OnlyFans models, and they've accused you of being a gooner or like a masturbation addict or a porn addict. Uh, Is there any validity to these claims, or do you know where that might arise from?
No, like I have no clue where these claims are coming from.
Yeah.
All right. They're not true?
Like the guy that made that video, like even he has no freaking idea why I'm being called that. That's like so out of this world. Like, why would somebody make these accusations?
Do you have any opinions on the Leaping Lemur video? I believe that's the video you're referring to. I know you said that you started to get brigaded by people who had watched the video and it gave you a lot of attention. Would you say that was overall negative? Would you say how would you say that affected you?
Well, it hurts, I did get a lot of hate. We got up to 18K followers. We're losing followers again. I don't know why. Stuff just keeps hitting me like he's hitting me with hard balls. So
Mm-hmm.
just gonna keep on, I guess. I don't know what to do next to get followers. It's pretty tough.
I think what you're doing right now is good. I think that the twerk videos are really funny. The ones where you're reacting to the twerking, I always enjoy watching those. In fact, one of those that really caught my attention was you were reacting to a twerk video and then talking about an issue that you were having with your lung, where your lung was popping out of your rib cage.
Yeah.
Is that a result of the car accident?
No, just smoking too much. Never smoke.
For
I
your
was
current boyfriend, how did you guys meet? Your boyfriend, your current boyfriend.
No, I just put out an ad, like
an ad where?
on Instagram, like, if anyone would like to be my only follower, and he replied,
Do
Your
they give
only
you money
follower?
or anything like that? Is it like an
only person I
OnlyFans thing?
follow.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
I did see that ad.
How much did he pay you?
It's just like $40 per month.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I guess for kind of our last section here, do you have any stories you want to tell? Like anything you want to get out there? Any questions that people often ask you that you want to answer here? Um, Common myths about you.
I don't know, this social media thing, I'm still kind of new at. Been a wild ride. I just hope to be there in like 1, 2, 3 years down time because that would be freaking amazing. But, I don't feel myself to be particularly successful as my peers for whatever reason, and that sucks. So, I don't know, I'll just be out there. Like,
This is kind of. Never mind.
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna ask, like, something I should have asked you early on is how would you describe yourself to someone who's never heard of you?
Just somebody likes posting content online, like sharing my opinion, like gaming, and that's about it.
Have you ever reached back out to people like iceposedian and people like I think I called it odablock, but you called it something else?
Oh, odablock, nah. I mean, I just do reactions to their content and stuff. I just sure they don't even remember me or know who I am. Occasionally I'll react to their stuff, but that's about it. I haven't personally reached out to them. No, they haven't reached out to me. Again, I never knew them personally, so
You never played RuneScape or anything like that with them.
yeah.
You mentioned somebody by the name of Soul Emission. Um, do you want to talk a little bit
Oh,
more about them? I thought that they were the one who gave you the copyright strike, and then odablock was the one who offered you an editing gig for clipping their channel.
Yeah, he was the one who struck me. I couldn't freaking I got scared. My social anxiety got the worst. Like he told me off
Mm-hmm.
for like being a clipper, and yeah, all that's true. But freaking
But Ice Poseidon also gave you a copyright strike.
yeah, either him or his editor.
Mm-hmm. So you had multiple ones on your channel at the time.
Yeah.
But really, you were kind of early into the whole clipping game. Now that's the meta. But I guess back in the day, people didn't want you to do that. Do you have how has making content affected your life? It sounds like you started early, you quit, and then you've refound it after kind of some incidents happened. Um,
Oh, if it were up to me, I would have started way sooner. Like it was because of my social anxiety disorder that I just wasn't unable to go forward with it. So a lot of it's my fault.
mhm. uh, are there any interesting stories that you think we missed, or anything that you wish we would have asked?
Uh, Not really, no.
I've seen a lot of videos of you reacting to twerk videos, and sometimes you twerk, don't you?
Yeah, I make daily twerk videos.
Would you be willing to twerk for us on the interview now that it's wrapping up?
Uh, sure. Let's go. Let's go. Can you guys see?
Oh yeah,
Hell yeah, let's go.
nice.
Woo!
Let's go.
All right, everybody. So that's the end of our interview with FanOf. Huge shout out to her for sitting down with us and giving us so much of her time to us for the interview. If you're interested in checking out her content, you can find a link to their YouTube channel in the description below. We hopefully got everybody's questions out there. We tried to peruse around and do some research to ask things that people seem to care about and get clarification on some of the bigger stories. Hopefully we were able to do that for you. If we did, give us a like, comment what you thought the most interesting part of the interview was, and subscribe to see more interviews in the future. Thank you.